Awesome. All right. Thank you guys for being here. Ignite Power Session 12. You guys made it to the end, the finale. This is where we get into some really exciting stuff. I mean, I'm talking the things that you guys don't even understand that are in the Keller Williams ecosystem. We're going to dive into a multitude of those things. But we got to understand the reason why we want to dive into those today. And we want to understand why we're ending on this note, if you will. So Ignite takes you through kind of the process of real estate. So you kind of get this overall view. You kind of understand what you need to start working on. So I like to begin with kind of this kind of basic list of things that you should be doing and how your schedule looks like. So we talked about it in the beginning, right? We talked about how we were starting to build your business, and we started talking about how you need to work on your business and in your business. And you got to have that delicate balance. When you first begin, a lot of your time is spent working on your business. Or I'm sorry, in your business, I'm losing it now. A lot of time is spent working kind of on setup and startup and how to and that sort of thing. But you always have to have a little small chunk of lead generation and doing activities. Now that we're through Ignite, your now activity level should be way up and your setup should be coming down a bit. But there's still some things that you got to work on. So one of the things that the number one thing you want to do is you're going to have a smart plan or what I call a touch program for your database. We're going to be doing a class around that. So now that Ignite's done, the next series of classes that I'm going to have are going to be more for now that Ignite's over. Here's how you do the same things that I'm going to list off in Ignite Blast Off, right? So Melissa, you and I went in depth about it the other day. We're talking about our sphere. We're talking about a touch program and how to basically set up a system that you can talk to somebody or quote unquote touch someone 42 times in 1 year, all while asking for business, all while not frustrating that person that you're bombarding them 42 times a year, and not all of it's real estate related. And that class, well, I'm going to talk about. So you need to start getting your database set up and in the zone on that. Because effectively done, you don't actually have your hands on 42 things per person a year. What you really have is about 4 phone calls a year, 2 handwritten notes, and a little bit of, tweaks and research and just making sure the system's flowing. It doesn't take up that much time to work on your database and to call them. And that's why we always want to have that secondary source of lead generation. Because just like what Caleb was saying before we jumped on this call today, guys, he's working on circle prospecting right now. And the main thing that I'm looking for him to work on circle prospecting for is to grow his database. He's going to run into leads. That's a guaranteed fact. He's going to run into leads by just growing his database through talking to individuals he doesn't know. But first and foremost, we got to get comfortable with talking to people we don't know and asking them if they can be a part of our database. Again, leads will come. And then you get comfortable with that. Then you get comfortable with asking for leads. You start to learn your scripts. And it's just this evolution of progression. But progression doesn't happen unless you're like these folks on this video who are here week in, week out and moving through that progression. That's important, right? So step number 1 after Ignite is you got to get your database sound, sealed, and delivered. There can be no flaws. Of course there can be flaws. You guys are supposed to laugh. There's always flaws. You're always working on it, right? You're always evolving. You're always working on it. When I first started, I didn't have the money to buy pumpkin pies for everyone at Thanksgiving that wanted pumpkin pies. But if you run the business model right or I should say the budget model right, then you're going to have money for pumpkin pies for people, and you're not going to have to think twice about it. But at first I didn't have any money. So my touch program was based upon very little interaction as far as financially driven was. I didn't give people gifts. I didn't take them out for lunch. It was coffee. I didn't send out these nice glossy postcards. What I would do is I'd print something on a black and white piece of printer with maybe a pastel green color and invite them to an Easter egg hunt that you can get like 1,500 Easter eggs off Amazon for like $30. Like that was my touch program. Melissa's like, I like that. I'm writing that down. But like, that's how my invites went out. I had a black and white printer with a pastel green, like looking like Easter egg color. Come out to this HOA open space at a park that I didn't have to rent. I got some twine at Home Depot to kind of section off some lanes. And then I had 1,500 Easter eggs there. And I really think the first year I only like filled like half of the Easter eggs with candy. Like I bet you there's some kids that were pretty bummed when they opened up their Easter eggs. Like not every single one of them had stuff in it. Now I can put candy bars in it. I can put a couple of coins in it. And I don't think twice about it. I can order 3,000 instead of 15. What I'm getting at, guys, is that touch program that you guys want to work on with your database is not going to ever be perfect. It's not ever going to be sound. And it's a moving and living, breathing organism and entity. What works one year will not work the next year. What worked last year did not work this year. There was no Easter egg hunt, right? And so it's not going to work every year, but you guys got to work on it and get it sound. And this is the time of year. I know for you guys listening to this recording, you're probably not going to be listening to it on October 15th, but it's October 15th right now. And every single person here needs to start business planning. We're going to get to that because this is ignition. This is blast off. And this is where I leave you guys today with the tangibles of going out and doing some things, scheduling a coaching call with me to solidify some of the things that we're going to talk about. All right. So first is your database. Second, you guys got to be finding that secondary lead generation source. I'm going to speak to Brady here for a second because I think he's the only team member on here. What does your team have you doing? Not just the Boomtown leads, but what else? There's got to be things.
They have us doing business to business program. So that's going to local businesses and basically asking them to be your referral partner. You refer business to them, they refer business to you, and then you connect your database with theirs, essentially.
Bingo. So it doesn't matter whether you're on a team, doesn't matter whether you're a solo agent. You have to think of your secondary source. Your primary is always going to be your database, and here's why. Okay, for those of you not working on your database, be careful. Be careful. Melissa had an unfortunate conversation. I've had an unfortunate conversation. Many of us out there have. And what we mean by unfortunate is my own sister was showing houses with other agents before I finally got wind of it, had a conversation with her, and it was like a deer in headlights. She had no idea she was doing something wrong. But the reality is that this year, I'm proud of this. I've been a coach, full-time coach this entire year now. And I haven't been able to lead generate one time. And I just closed the 28th home. My phone rang this year. And it's only because I was taught and preached and slammed down my throat to work on that database. Because over time, that database, when they think of real estate, man, they think of me. And I'm going to help you guys do that. And the biggest thing is get them on a touch program. Be in front of them 42 times a year. Mine was a 42 touch program. I think a lot of people do 33 or 45 because those are kind of the KW models that are out there. I kind of tweaked mine to a 42 touch. I don't care what you do, but they have statistics that prove anything less than 33 times a year is too little. All right. So database, as well as work on that secondary lead generation source. Okay. Next, here's what you should also be doing. You also need to work on your buyer's consultation and your seller's consultation, the contract to buy and sell real estate, exclusive right to buy, exclusive right to list. I can say those again if you need.
And Bruce,
yeah,
in design now, they have some new buyer and seller presentation materials. So
yep, so here. Thanks for joining in here. I really appreciate it. What we're doing right now is we're kind of giving them their list of things to be practicing and working on after Ignite's taken off. And then what I'm going to do for the rest of the class is kind of show you guys some tools to use around what we're talking about right now. Okay. So you have, what was the first one?
The buyer and seller consultation.
Okay, perfect. Buyer and seller consultation, contract to buy and sell real estate, residential, exclusive right to buy, exclusive right to list, practice your CMAs, seller net sheet, and how to set up a buyer search. Those 8 things right there are not considered your script and dialogue practice time. Those things right there obviously are not considered your lead generation time. So remember how I kept saying, you guys, in the perfect world, we can be done with real estate by about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. If we start at 8, you can even have a full half hour to an hour lunch, and you can still methodically get through an entire day of real estate unless you have appointments or something afterwards. So now let's talk. So we've got our list of things that we're working on. We need the database. We need the secondary lead generation source. And then we need to be practicing those 8 different things because they're a little different than just scripts and dialogue. But a perfect real estate schedule is what you guys want to start to develop. Now, I say what a perfect real estate schedule is what you want to start to develop. My schedule is pretty much to the book, and it's because it works. 8 to 8:30, I'm looking at my day, my list, my call prep, my where I'm going to be. So that way, when that day gets busy and my phone starts ringing and that email starts to hit, I know where my priorities align. 8 to 8:30 to 9, I'm scripting role playing because I need to know, I need to hone in, I need to sharpen those skills. I need to sharpen those tools to lead generate, because most of the time, if you guys go and you lead generate the same way 5 days a week, you're going to burn yourself out after 3 and 4 months. So you got to change up the medium in which you're lead generating, right? Some days you're working on calling your sphere. Some days you're going to be doing handwritten notes. Some days you might cold call or door knock. Some days you might go to a networking event. You want to make sure that you're breaking that up. And because you break that up, you want to make sure you practice those individual scripts around that activity for the day. Then 9 to 11, you're lead generating. 11 to 12, you're doing any sort of database tidy up. Send off everything that you promised to people. Do not go through your lead generation time block. Promise to send someone set them up on a search. Pause your lead generation time and then set up that search. Set up that search at 11 o'clock. Give yourself an hour, because again, if you have a list of things to do and you give yourself 2 hours, guess how long it's going to take you to do that list of things? 2 hours. If you give yourself 1 hour, guess how long it's going to take you to do that same list of things? 1 hour. Just give yourself that 1 hour. If for some odd reason you had an amazing call day of 9 to 11 and you talked to 30 plus people, then maybe I'll give you some grace on that hour. But mark my words, coming from experience, you can call 2 hours a day. You can hit 20 people pretty easily. And then you can do an hour worth of data entry, set them up on command, set them up on smart plans, and then you can take your lunch. Take a lunch, 12 to 1, 12 to 12:30, I don't care. But that next piece, you need to be practicing those other 8 things. Those other 8 things you need to get good at. Because right now there's 3 folks in our program. I'm not going to call you out here, but I know for a fact you're not practicing these things because of when I review your contracts and when I watch and I talk to you, I can tell you're not attending stuff. I can also tell you're not watching the videos that are created for you. They're for you guys. Use them, right? So practice those 8 different things. And I appreciate you being on here. So I'm not even sure if you have any of these tools that I'm talking about that I send out to anyone. If you want to put in your email in the chat box, I'm happy to share with you everything that we're going to talk about. I keep talking about these walkthrough videos. I create walkthrough videos that walk you through how to do a contract. I did the buyer's presentation the other week. I'm going to do the listing presentation sometime. Anything that you need is going to be in there eventually. And I've already started a very big round of it, if you will. Okay, perfect. Thank you. So it's practicing those 8 things, and it's being methodical about it, you guys. I love that I train and mentor now because it forces me to continue to keep my skills sharp. Darby, share your success. I don't care if we're in the middle of stuff. Share it.
I got a second buyer.
From your Facebook ad?
Yeah, he owns his home right now. He's thinking about offloading his rental property and getting a new property to rent out. So
That's awesome.
I'm sending up the market update of what's happening at his rental so that way we can meet and chat about offloading it.
That's awesome.
Sorry, I didn't mean, I forgot I had the video on.
Hey, you're all right, because I need people to share. I want to pick on Darby for a second, right? Most people watching this video would be like, what is this lady doing? Here's what Darby understands about real estate. This class is subsidiary to her business. If any one of you right now were to get a lead, I would expect and appreciate if you really could just jump off here, keep on here, and take that call, make that conversation. So we've got our list of action items that we want to work on, right? Well, I've got some more for you too, but there's some things that you want to understand about your job, right? You really need to look at this job as more of a flow chart of priorities. And here's what I mean by that. I kind of hold up my hand like this, and this is kind of the way I look at my task list for today. If I have something on my plate, I ask myself, does that deal with scheduling or attending a closing? If the answer is no, I go down the list. Is that negotiations on a deal, or am I negotiating or going under contract? If that's a no, then I go to the next piece. The next piece is I got to get some people to write contracts, so I need to be going on appointments. If I'm not going on appointments, then I should be lead generating or lead follow or having some lead follow up. And then the second piece is training, scripting, role play. And so that's at the last piece, right? Darby was basically lead generating right there, which is why she needs to vacate any sort of training to do that. It doesn't fall in the hierarchy of what your job is. All right. And that's why, I'm just going to say it on this video right here. That's why when someone calls me and I'm on a one-on-one call and somebody else needs a contract to review, I may take some time with that person, and my one-on-one call might be 6 or 7 minutes late. That agent unfortunately took precedence at that moment because of a situation. They didn't take precedence at that moment because of the person they are. They took it because when I go down the list of how I help people build their business, I stick to that program and it works. Good job, Darby. I appreciate that. Congrats. That's awesome. Okay. So let's continue. So we've got those other things that you should be working on and you should be consistent about, but there's a piece to business, right? Anybody know any business out there that doesn't track anything or doesn't have any books, doesn't have any P&Ls, doesn't pay their taxes? If you do, they're not around very long, right? So you're in business now. We've got to talk about some business strategy for yourself. As you guys get that first paycheck, what do you do with it? How does that work? Okay. So let's talk about business for a brief second. So in business, we've got to pay our own taxes. In business, we have to pay our own business expenses as well as pay ourselves. So this is just simply something I've done. It's not the end all be all. You guys do your own tweaks. But again, I'm cheap. I don't pay for something. I lead with revenue. Meaning if I don't have the revenue, I got to figure out some other way to do it. Here's what I did. I go to the bank. And before I had a business, an LLC, I went to the bank and I opened up another checking account and 2 savings accounts. And the reason I did that was because the worst thing that I see that happens is people overpay themselves off of a commission check. And here's what I mean by overpays themselves. You get your commission check and you're like, okay, I'm self-employed. I need to save some taxes. Oh man, woohoo. I got $5,000 left, right? And then they go and they put that $5,000 in their bank account. Next thing you know, you're like, man, you know what? I got some money. I can go out to eat tonight. Man, you know what? I've been looking for those new sneakers. I got some money. And next thing you know, all of a sudden, you kind of bring your bank account back down to where you live and you don't even realize it. And then you get that phone call that says, I've got a listing. I need to go. I need you to put my house on the market tomorrow. And you're like, well, I can't. The one sign that I ordered is actually at somebody else's house. And then you go, crap, I got to go order some signs. And you look at your bank account and you're like, holy crap, I don't have any money. My personal account barely has any money. I got to live off of this, as well as I got to get through the next month because I don't have another closing coming. But I got to figure out how to order this. And then some people start to put it on credit cards. Be methodical. You're in business now. And there's a model out there called the 30-30-40. 30-30-40. 30% of your income or your check should be for the cost of sales. Now, when you're a solo agent, a cost of sales is your salary. So congratulations, you're paying yourself 30% of your check. 30% of the check should then go into your business fund. So that's where you pull out the money to order photography. That's where you pull out the money for signs. That's where you pull out the money for, new business cards, website design, Facebook ads. That's your business account. And so you got to always separate that, right? If you have no money in that account, then I'm going to ask you why you want to spend $500 on Facebook that month, right? And that's why I think to start real estate, there's all sorts of articles out there. So you can start to get into real estate with $2,000. And then you have articles that say $5,000, $6,000. You have articles that say $10,000 is needed. I'm more in alignment with that $6,000 to $10,000 model, because once you get your license and you have it, you need to kind of have this business account kind of already set up. You got some business expenses, right? So you have 30% going back into your business, which leaves 40%. That's your profit. I'm gonna rewind a bit. We forgot to talk about taxes. Take out your taxes and then 30-30-40. And here's what you'll be pleasantly surprised around. You just took out too many taxes. What you're starting to do is you're starting to build your bonus to yourself for the end of the year. And again, you guys, this is just my model and my principle. But the 30-30-40 principle is a sound principle. That is a Keller Williams 101. That is a budget model. But I take my taxes out before. So then I take taxes out based upon the whole income, but I'm not going to claim the whole income on my taxes. I'll get you there, Melissa. I'm not going to take I'm going to take the full tax amount off of the entire income, but I'm not going to claim that entire income because 30% of that's going to be written off in the form of business expenses. So what happens is over the year, you kind of start to make your own, and I love this because it makes my own kind of Christmas fund, if I will, my winter fund, a vacation fund that I don't really have to think about because I just, as soon as I get a check, I calculate it and I put that into a savings account called taxes. The 40% is the business's profit. This is the one mistake that most agents do, is they will actually then most likely they will pay themselves around 50% of their check, put maybe a portion to taxes and a portion to taxes and a portion to business. Business expenses are for business expenses. They're not for scaling expenses. Owner profits are for scaling the business. So at the end of the year, you have a fund, and maybe even in the middle of the year, but let's go perfect world, right? You get through your entire year and you're methodical about this. You've had $100,000 in commission checks, which means you brought home $30,000 to your family, which means you have $30,000 sitting in a business fund. And now you have $40,000 sitting in a profit fund. What are you going to do with that money to scale your business for the next year? The cool part about it, guys, is this is where other people, this is where their vacation funds come. This is where they start to give themselves Christmas bonuses. I will do that as long as I don't use the 40K to scale my business. Is this all making sense? Okay.
Yeah, and
Do it, Harry. You're on mute, buddy. Harry?
yeah.
I think he might be cutting out. You can try and bombard in anytime you need, Harry. So that business fund is to scale your business. Now, in your first year, you're going to be going, well, what the heck am I going to use $40,000 for to scale my business? Because if you're doing it right, you should have $30,000 in your business budget account, but you've also started to pay for things as you go. So at perfect world, you're not going to have it in an account, right? So sometimes you have to make a decision. Okay, this year, I want to up my marketing game. I want to increase my expenditure for this next year for postcards by 5 times. I don't know, whatever that is for you. Calculate what you're going to need for that. Move that profit into your business account. So that way now you have the money for the entire year. So when it comes down time to pull the trigger on ordering those postcards, you don't think twice about the money. It's already there. Okay. So in your first year, if this is a perfect world, take a $20,000 bonus and put $20,000 back into your account. But the key is you want to get into this habit, because as you grow your business from a single agent into hiring an admin, here's what happens. Now your 30% of cost of sales is not all yours anymore. Now you have to split the 30% cost of sales, most to you and some to your admin, right? Well, if your admin works out well, the rule of thumb is they need to double what they cost. So if you paying an admin $40,000 a year, your business better go up by $80,000. So really your 30%, yes, is divided between you and the admin, but done effectively and right, you're still going to make more money even from that 30% pile, if you will. All right. The $40,000, guys, the profit, that's where you start to do business planning sessions with your admin. Anyways, we're going to keep going down that road, and I apologize. I get real passionate about you guys scaling your business, and the only way to do it is to get into a very intentional habit around not overpaying yourself from the rip. It's so important. Okay, so we've got the budget model. We've kind of got a business alignment. We've got a schedule. Create your schedule, guys. Figure out your schedule. It doesn't have to be exactly what I do, right? But make sure you incorporate those basically those 4 components. There's script and role play. There's lead generation. There's database, or what I call operations entry. And then there's the practice or training around things, right? And you guys have a lot to practice right now. All of those list of 8 things. Okay.
Can you hear me now? I'm
can.
finally able to get from where I was. I'm sorry, we had a team meeting.
That's okay.
Hey Ann, how you doing? So one of the things that she just got tried to get another buyer contract last night about 10 o'clock. So we'll see how that goes. She's killing it.
That's awesome.
What I teach people is go back to, so when he talks about the 30, 30, 40, it's always a net. It's not your gross commission, it's your net commission. And what I mean by that is, as he said, you got to go back and take your taxes out. Use your last year's tax rate to determine. It could change, but at least it gives you a foundation to say, okay, if I was at hypothetical 24%, I'm going to use, if it was a $10,000 deal, it's like Bruce said, I'm going to put 2,400 into my tax account. And at the end of the year, it's like he just said, you can use that money for Christmas, whatever else, because you'll find out, oh my gosh, I did it on gross, and I'm going to have expenses associated with my business. And so it's just, you don't want to do what two agents did last year that are quite successful, that come to you and say, I wonder if I can get my first 3 deals and not pay any cap because I didn't set out money for my taxes. So now you're now behind. And you know how hard it is to catch up? It's really hard. So Bruce is right. And Ann, we did this in our class last year. We took that business and said, okay, there's a tax element to this, put it away. And at the end of the year, if there's money left over, guess who gets it? You do. And so just wanted to reiterate that, how important that is, because you don't want to get yourself into that trap that you didn't pay your taxes or have it set aside. And just use your rate from last year. There's nothing wrong with using that rate. Even if you make more money this year, you'll at least have a good foundation of that money because you did it on gross. Anyway, Sorry.
No, don't be sorry, because if I could just have that segment play over and over about once a week to you guys for the next, I don't know, year or so, it's because you start to get lost in it. And I'm watching mega agents right now. If you look at their P&Ls, they might have a profit margin of 3 or 4%. And their salaries to themselves are ungodly. And then when they want to, quote unquote, grow their business, they never feel like pulling the trigger on something because their issue is, well, that's too expensive. The reality is good things are expensive. I do not need an Apple computer, but I need an Apple computer, right?
I worked with an agent that did 19 million last year, and they had no money. So we took their budgets are my thing. So it's just who I am. I don't know why. I guess my past career just taught me that you have to learn it. But my point to them was, everything that you spend money on, what was your return for it? So if you were buying X list and you got 0 leads out of that list, why'd you buy that list? Just because you could say you bought the list? I mean, so your expenses, that 30, 40, that cost of sale, make sure that cost of sale makes sense. You don't need to spend the money, don't spend the money, right? I mean, at the end of the day, that's your money. And so if you're just going to throw it down, people buy Boomtown, now you've got Command. Why would you want to spend $60 to $100 a month if you don't need to, when you can have Command do the same thing for you? You got to be smart about how you're going to move that business forward. So anyway, just wanted to, if you guys need our help on budgeting, just call me, say, hey, I need help on budgeting, or I don't know what I'm doing with this budget. I don't know this P&L and how it works. I'd be more than willing to help you do that. And so will Bruce.
Bingo. And to Harry's point and to all of these points, I know how much of a struggle that can be, especially when you are working on your first commission check and you've worked very hard for this. And I'm telling you to only take out X, it's gonna be very hard. It's almost like I worked this hard for this. Trust me, it's coming. You work this hard because it's a snowball. It's everything in real estate's an exponential curve. More money will come. Set yourself out on the right principles first. And then, I don't know if anybody was in the Facebook Live video with me and Damon today, but we talked about this. And if you're intentional around things to begin, you're not going to be that old dog trying new habits down the road. Because mark my words, like Harry said, a $19 million producer has no money. Do you guys know what a $19 million producer brings in GCI? I do. $532,000, and they have no money. I'm telling you, it happens day in and day out. And now if that person tries to downsize their lifestyle, they're not going to be able to. They have probably too much debt out in the form of credit, and they wouldn't be able to make their monthly payments. People get into too big of houses, big trucks, big cars, big SUVs, Beamers, Mercedes-Benz. After 1 year of doing $19 million in volume, why didn't you just buy it outright? You know what I mean? Then you have something. But instead, they'd rather go buy the boat and the car and the truck than just the truck, right? Or something like that. Be careful. Set yourself up on the right foundation first. Okay, let's get into this a little bit here. And I just sent you the YouTube link that I want to. You know what? I better share my screen with you guys. You got your first closing, Brady. Congrats, my friend.
No, not yet. I was just saying, like, when it does happen, like,
Yeah.
we were just like, what do we even do?
Yep. Be methodical about it. And sometimes, like I said, it's not what you want it to be, but mark my words, that 40% still sitting in there. That's a cool thing when you can give yourself the biggest bonus that no employer's ever given you before. It's pretty cool.
Yeah,
It's pretty
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So can everybody see my screen? Cool. And I just sent you this YouTube playlist. These are some of the tools that teach you guys some of the things that we talked about. So I'll delete that later. I don't know what it is. Anyways, here's the buyer's presentation. It's an hour and 21 minutes long, right? Make sure when you plan to watch one of these and take notes and do some things, make sure you're adding probably about 10, 20 minutes worth of buffer so you can pause, take notes, and do those sort of things. So make sure that when you're planning your day and your real estate career, make sure you guys understand that if you're going to set aside an hour for something and you want to watch an hour and a half long video, set aside 2 hours. All right. So, and here's the playlist that everyone has. Everybody in here have this besides, well, Ann now, I guess. Cool.
Thank you.
The next thing, yeah, you bet. You bet. I need to change these things too, but this is how you're going to practice your contract to buy and sell real estate. Like, practice on the own home that you live in. Here's how to do a CMA through IRIS. Here's how to do a buyer search in RE Colorado. Here's all the things that you need to be practicing. And here's what I would do. My advice to you guys is, because 8 is overwhelming and 8 doesn't fit into a work week, right? What I would encourage you to do is take the 8 and put on your plate 4 different ones a week for 2 weeks and then repeat. So if Caleb says, you know what, on Mondays, I don't feel like going through an entire big, long contract to buy and sell, then on Mondays, Caleb do CMAs. Tuesdays, do your buyer consultation. Wednesdays, do this. And then rinse and repeat. And set yourself up on a system. And again, it's a habit, right? And when you can do that habit, mark my words, about the 5th time of doing a CMA, you're going to be like, wow, I get it. Contract to buy and sell real estate. That takes about 3 or 4 times before you're like, I don't understand this, but I can fill it out. About that 10th time, you're going to be like, all right, I think I got it now, like the back of my hand. But the key is if it takes you 10 weeks to get through this, my fear is that you get that buyer that wants to write a contract before you've ever tried even practicing one contract. Use these videos when you do it. Okay, this is kind of becoming my bigger pet peeve. This is where people I'm really starting to draw this line around when somebody wants my attention and wants me to write the contract with them. I know for a fact I haven't ever watched it. You guys also understand, I get to look at who views any of these videos. I can easily know who's in here and who's not. So use them, practice now before you need them. Once you need them, you start to go into panic mode, freak out mode, and then your buyers are waiting for you to get something done in 2 hours. That's going to take you 4 because you just haven't practiced that one time. use them.
And also remember, Jesse teaches every Tuesday.
Yeah, Jesse teaches. Yeah, exactly. Well, I don't want. We're recording, so we'll talk about that later. But yes, Jesse has contract class every Tuesday, 9 to 11. Next, let's go into. Let's go into Connect. So I want to show you guys this tool. So if you guys go into KW Connect, this is your home page. You want to go up here to growth. Here's the trick. I don't know why this is in here, but do not click on growth initiative or growth resources. For some reason, it doesn't take you to the same page that I need to go to. The only way I can find the page is watch my mouse as I hover over growth and get to the top of it. It changes to a link that I can now click in. For some reason, it's very sensitive. It's a very small window of a link. Click on that link. And for some reason, it goes to Career Growth Initiative, but it's not the same link as this growth initiative. I don't know why. That's the way it is. I honestly think it's because I'm in leadership now, so mine's a little different. I think it just has some different things for me. Click on that. You're going to have this come up. Hey, looks like you guys haven't hit your goals yet. Again, it's October 15th. You have got to be thinking about 2021 right now. And the reason why you want to start is because it can take you some time for your business plan. You do not want to set aside 2 hours on a Saturday and get your business plan done. It sounds like you do, but the reality is if you set down 2 hours of your time on Saturday and you wake up and you just don't feel like it, you might have had too many cocktails on Friday, don't do it. Just get started. You need to be in the right mindset for business planning. And when you're on a team, it's harder because they're gonna make sure that you do it kind of all in a group and all in one session. But mark my words, the reason why your team probably will do this I've never seen a team do this in December if they're running effectively. They're doing it by October 15th and absolutely solidify before November 15th. I think Brady, you guys just had yours, right?
Yeah, and I did my GPS, and I'm going to do my 401 today.
And when does that due back to the team by?
So, I mean, we just basically went over, I mean, the first day of business planning was Tuesday, and then yesterday we had to have our GPS filled out and done. So, yeah.
So there's no date to turn it into
I think maybe there is. Maybe I just missed that somewhere, but I know I already have mine filled out and done, but I'm probably going to send it over to Brooke just to review it. So
that's perfect. I wanted to tee you up right there. Oh, sorry, Harry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, just so you know, KWRI probably already has their budgets done, been approved, and ready to move for 2021. Already done.
Yep. So I'm going to guess and guarantee the reason why your team didn't put a deadline on you is because it's kind of weird, right? The deadline is really January 1. You want to kind of put some deadlines on yourself to get through this, and you want to set aside some time to do it. But mark my words, if you're not in the right mood, you're not going to have the right business plan. If you're in the right mood, you can draw up a very elaborate business plan, and then as you go throughout this next month, you might have to add to it or tailor it back. But it's something that you want to look at and develop and work through seriously over these next couple of months. You don't want to do it December 15th because you will feel rushed. Okay, so I'm going to add my 2021 goals later. I was messing around with this system, but you guys, this is what you guys will see populate once you fill out this full CGI calculator. All right. So here's your, like I said, mine looks a little different because I can see you guys' stuff, but my goal, you're going to have this little tool say, set my goal. This is powerful. So if I want to have a profit goal of $100,000, I'm going to tax myself at a 28% tax bracket. And now I know that number, like Harry said, because I track my numbers every single year. And I run at about a 24 to 28 tax bracket, depending upon the income level that year. The major threshold is $180,000. So I guess for the purpose of this video, let's do 24, because at 100,000 it'll be about 24. The royalty is $3,000. Company cap is not 20K, it's 18. Monthly expenses. This is your business monthly expenses. All right. So I have a coach that's $1,000. I have subscriptions, MLS dues, fees, things of that nature. Mine per month are $36K a month. Additional means, additional income, right? This is where you get real nitty gritty. This is like if you have an S Corp and you have salaries and draws and things. I'm going to tell you guys, just for the sake of all of this, leave it out. You can manipulate this system pretty good. Average commission. Don't trick yourself. All right. I think Mike Nelson posted it the other day. There's mega agents all over our company averaging 2.6% commission. I average 2.7. Average home sale. I would say go by the average in the area, but understand that if you've never done a deal, traditionally speaking, you tend to have a little bit lower average sales price point. I think I even had a lower average sales price point than the market last year. Mine was at 383. I'm a 50-50 seller focused, buyer focused kind of guy. Some people do, 90-10, whatever. 50-50 for the sake of this video, because I'll show you what it's doing over here. Your conversion rates. To begin, the basics are 75%. So by conversion rates, I guess it's right there. Listing appointments to listings taken. You can go on 75 or 100 listing appointments, and you're probably going to walk away with 75 signed appointments. Out of those 75 signed appointments, only 75 of those will actually turn into a closed product. So it's already going to start to do the math for you on the law of the averages in the industry. All right. So then you want to hit submit. And when you hit submit, here's what it's going to break down for you. To fund your perfect life, here's what you're going to look at as far as taxes go. Here's your cost of sales. Remember, there's no salary for this type of cost of sales. For on this what do you want to call it? The 30, 30, 40. If you put in additional means of salary here, that's where it would come out of. There's my expenses. Those are my business expenses at $3,600 a month. It's $43,000 for the year. Is what I need to be prepared for, which means I need to have an annual GCI goal of $195,779 a year, as well as 16K a month. Then it breaks it down even further. How many listings or how many closings do I need for the year? Both buyers and sellers. How many closings do I need per month? Here's how many listings I need to take for the year to hit 13 closings. So remember, I'm at a 50-50 seller focus. So out of 26 closed deals, I need to do 13 listings, which means I need to land 18 listing appointments, which means I need to go on 2 listing appointments per month, or I need to take 2 listings a month. So you guys can see how this all kind of breaks down. I need 2 listing appointments. I need to take 2 listing appointments per month, buyers and sellers, and then I need to average 3 closings. And so if I'm not on track with this each and every month, then I need to adjust these numbers accordingly to make sure that I can profit $100,000. Now, play around with this, right? You may get better. Watch what it does when you go up just up to 80%. This is where scripts and role play come into play. Was it not letting me? Yeah, it's still registering at 75%. I apologize, but play around with it. Manipulate that system a bit. You know, for those of you running at 2.8%, it's going to make a difference. 400,000 is going to make a big difference. Play around with it. When you're new, you're going to be new, but when you're, don't trick yourself after you've gone through a year. Put in what you have and work from there. All right. Some more tools, some more things. So once you do that, what it's going to do is going to spit out kind of where you're at, and you can track this stuff and edit this and tweak this. All right. Have you guys seen a pipeline tool before? I did a pipeline class, so we're not going to go over the severity of it, but I want to reiterate, because now that you've gone through Ignite, there's other things going on in your world. You probably forgot about a load of different things. So this is the pipeline tool. You're going to click this button here, and it's going to download to your browser. Bear with me. There we go. Cool. All right. Need to. This is one of the #1 game changers in my entire business. This one simple tool right here. So this is my pipeline tool. There are some CRMs, there are some databases, there are some things that you guys can use that kind of have this. The reason why this was a game changer for me was not because of this actual Excel doc. What I did was I put this up on a whiteboard. And my whiteboard is my pipeline. And my whiteboard is a living, breathing, moving entity. And so what I would do is on my whiteboard, I have, you can go to Hobby Lobby or whatever, and you can find this little, they call it craft tape. It's this really thin tape that's kind of like, it's kind of like electrical tape. It's just really, really thin. You could put grid lines on your whiteboard, and you can kind of make this for yourself. So on my whiteboard, I'll have my, my buyers' names and what they're looking for. I don't use all of these categories, but my command is my database management system, but my whiteboard has their name, what they're looking for, like a brief little note history about it. And then what I do is I have their ranking system. The ranking system is the most important. All right. Let's define this very quickly, but this has to be a moving thing. The only person that's on your pipeline that can be a 10 is somebody who's ready, willing, and able to buy or sell within the next month. Like, pull the trigger, hot to trot, I'm in. A 9 is somebody who's probably about a month out, or maybe they still are working on their pre-approval. If they had a pre-approval, they'd buy in an instant. Maybe the seller's ready to sell, but the carpet installers can't get there for another 2 weeks or 3 weeks, whatever that is. Make sure that you're grading this accordingly, right? 10 is right now, 9 is a month out, or something's causing them to not be able to pull the trigger. 8 is 2 to 3 months out. 7 is 3 to 4 months out. 6 is 4 to 5 months out. And all of those 6 and 7s and 8s, they all probably have some other nuances to them too, right? They need to be pre-approved. They need to paint the exterior of their home. They need to finish the basement remodel. Whatever that looks like, don't trick yourself. And here's why this pipeline tool became such a game changer for me. Do you know where I was putting weight on my buyers and sellers? I was putting weight on people who were ranking as 2s and 3s. And here's what I mean by that. I'll never forget, I had a buyer, I circle prospect. I think I venture to say it's probably one of my first leads, circle prospecting. So I'm excited that somebody's saying yes at this point. I'm excited. They get me all excited. They're what we call a high I. They like to talk. They like to be engaged. They have no problem sharing their life story with you, and they have no problem sucking your time away either. This high I told me that they were probably a year out. They were stuck in a lease. I went through the scripts around if they could get out of their lease, would they, yada, yada, yada. They wouldn't. But she still proceeds to convince me to set up a buyer search for her, send her lender information, and then she wants to go see houses. And then she gets upset with me that I didn't go see houses with her. This lady took up so much of my time. And when I say gets upset that I didn't go see houses with her, oh, I showed her 10 houses like a rookie. I showed her 10 houses and was like, wait a second, why am I spending time with her? She's a year out. This pipeline tool will help you kind of not let those people trick you. The reality is that I never closed with this person. I put effort where effort wasn't due. She ended up not panning out. She could never get her credit score in order. She never saved money, but she was very talkative. She was very convincing, and she was very engaged. But if I would have had this tool, I would have ranked her as a 2. And do you know how often my 2s get called? Maybe once a month to once a quarter. And I don't even know if they get called. Sometimes they get an email, sometimes they get a call, sometimes they get a text message. But as each month goes by, I'm going to maybe take that 2 to a 3, and that 3 to a 4, and so on and so forth, right? So it's a moving, breathing thing. The pipeline tool is a game changer for tracking your business for me. Could you guys see that pipeline that whole time? Okay, I was like, maybe I'm sharing just to my browser. Okay, but take a look. There's this growth initiative tool is very powerful. It's extremely powerful. Here's another thing I want you guys to look up. For all you scripters out there, wondering where I learned my scripts, where's Melissa? Is she on here? Yeah, there she is. You're just at the bottom. Zoom don't like you today. All right, what you're gonna want to do is you're gonna want to type in volume. Here's the trick. Type in volume 1, 2, and 3. Caleb, quit smirking. You're gonna type in volume. Here's a scripts catalog, scripts volume 1, scripts volume 2, and then there's a volume 3 called lead gen. Volume 3 lead gen. Look how long this thing is. I don't even want to download it to my computer. I don't have enough memory left.
Did you ask me a question, Bruce?
Yep.
It's working now, so.
I didn't ask you a question.
Okay.
This guy here, I can send it to you, or you guys can download it. It's 238 pages of lead generation scripts. Powerful. But again, there's a lot of Ignite scripts. Those are great, but you guys are graduating today. Congratulations. Now you get access to more than you would ever need to know. Look at Melissa. It's like, why the hell didn't you send this to me before now?
You should have seen how big Patrick's binder was because he printed all of them.
Mm-hmm.
It was awesome.
That guy's gonna do what he wants to do. He's gonna do what, not what he wants to do. He's gonna do what it takes. And he's got to get out of his comfort shell. I hope he watches this, because I hope he's here. I hope he's listening, because he's taking the right steps and the right action. All of you guys are.
You know, and one of the things I suggest to agents is go through some of the scripts and just read them, because you'll find one that sort of sounds like you, and then you'll gravitate to that one, and then you'll fine tune it to be you, right?
Bingo.
It won't be, they say I hear all the time, don't change the script, don't change the script. Well, if Bruce called me with a script and it didn't sound like Bruce, it comes across that way. That's all I'm saying is you pick a few of those scripts that you know that you'll become comfortable with, and you learn them, and then you make them your own. Blake is a classic example of a guy in our office. His script is now, he took a script, he's made it his own. He's on his, well, he just capped today, and he just started his cap at the end of July, so August 1st. Here we are, October, whatever, and he's already capped again.
So Harry, so we got some dialers on here, and I need them to hear this kid's. I had the pleasure of meeting with Blake this past Sunday, and I blocked off a half an hour for him, and I cleared my schedule to continue with this guy.
Yeah.
I spent 2.5 hours in my backyard. This guy had me so jacked up, it wasn't even funny.
Yeah,
Listen to some of these numbers he does.
I just spent another half an hour with him. He just, it was really funny today. He goes, man, I hate this. And I laughed because he's so good at it, right? And he says he hates to telemarket. He cold calls every day. He says he hates it. And I can't imagine. He'll do 21 deals from January 1st of this year, all from telemarketing. He just closed yesterday. The reason I sat down with him is because him and I had worked on his house. It was $750,000, even though we told the people they were nuts that it would go for $750. They got $680 for it. So he closed yesterday, and his commission check was $18,000. Okay, not a bad payday. And he got it all through just getting on the phones every day. He's religious about it. He just, no matter what else he does in his day, that's what he does. And I can tell you this. I remember the first day he did scripts and I laughed. I said, Blake, we got to really fine tune this. I don't want you to get back on the phones again until we've practiced this for at least 2 to 3 days, because he was going to lose potential clients. Everybody you dial is a potential client. So we just kept working at it every day. And he's finally got it. It's probably not what I would use because that's not me, but it fits him perfectly. Yep. And he's killing it. I bet he's got 15 set up for the next 6 months of people who said, I think I'm going to start in January of 2021, or I think I'm going to do February when March spring hits. And so he's already, besides having that 21, he's got this huge database that's going to pay off for him next year. So he's 22 years old.
22 years old, put in 30,000 dials since January.
30,000. Well, it's a little bit over that today. We were going over that. I think he's at about 36 now.
Yeah.
That's a ton.
And in talking with him, here's what he's doing. He cannot stand this. He absolutely does not like real estate.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what he knows. At 22 years old, he's looking 2 years down the road, and he knows that if he does this like this his second year, mark my words, he'll probably never have to pick up the phone again if he sets up that database that he's closing right now. If he sets them up on a touch program the correct way, he won't have to lift a finger in his career. Barely.
He won't lead generate. Another year, maybe another 6 to 8 months, he probably won't lead generate. Won't have to.
He won't have to. And then he'll be hiring some people to do it for him.
That's what we were working on today is, what's that next step? We've already finished his 2021 plan.
Yep.
We finished it probably at the end of last month. So somewhere in September, I don't remember the exact date. But in fact, today we talked about should we change it a little bit with the idea that he might hire somebody to do some of that work so that he can continue to go out. I think it still should be a social media person because that's where that's not his strength. I think he could gain 6 to 8 new clients next year on doing that and keep doing what he's doing because he's so good at it. And at some point he won't have to, but why not go where you're weak, right? So if you're going to build that business, where's your strengths and where's your weaknesses? Well, you're always going to hire for your weaknesses, not your strengths. So why would he hire a telemarketer? He already does that well. And he go hire a social media person that's going to build that part of his business up for him.
And like Harry said, he was awful.
Oh, you guys have no idea. He was 21 years old. Hey, how you doing? And I'd go, no, we can't do that. Great guy, great kid, hustler, gets it. In fact, I'll tell you what he said to me today. He goes, I've got to put some time on today to go to the bank. I have the check from yesterday and 2 from last month that I haven't put in the bank yet. Okay, guys, if he's getting 10,000 a pop plus he got that 18, that's $38,000 that he hadn't put into his bank yet because he's not spending it because he's working really hard right now because he knows it's going to pay off later for him. So just saying. It can be done.
Green problems.
It can be done. Yes, that's right.
Hang in there. No, it will be done.
Take some time. Yeah. But at the end of the day, when he came to us, he was as raw as you can get. And he's killing it because he has that drive. He has that
He just
motivation.
knows this. It's all about the action. Okay.
Yep. Sorry.
I forgot, Darby. We've got, but we'll end this here in 10 minutes.
Okay.
And I love this. This leads into kind of what Harry was talking about with Blake. But let's take off of Blake for a second. And if you want advice, like you guys got to go through here. And I've like I said, I'll give you all the advice in the world. I don't have much advice for getting into production as fast as possible, besides stretching yourself, make yourself feel uncomfortable. Blake hates cold calling. I couldn't stand it. I couldn't stand door knocking. I loved open houses and networking, but that wasn't an everyday thing. I can't stand asking my friends and family for business, but I do. My word of advice for you guys is if what you're doing today isn't working, double and triple your activities. And you've got to get to a place where you understand that it's uncomfortable to start, and that by doubling and tripling your activities, what will happen is you'll fine tune it to the place where you can double and triple your activities in the same amount of time that you were once doing where you weren't being effective. And let me hear you out on that. Or whatever.
Let me just say something onto that, what you were saying.
Do it.
Because Bruce makes a good point. You might go out and do something that doesn't work, tweak it. I'll give you a classic example. I'm like Bruce, didn't like knocking on doors because I was farming in my neighborhood, but I knew it was important, but I wasn't getting people to answer the door. So I went home and I thought, why aren't people answering the door? And my wife said, well, you tell me never to answer the door for somebody you don't know, so what do you think? And so I thought, that's right, that's probably why. So I brought my grandson with me, right? I paid him $10, but he had to go with me for 2 hours. Do you know how many more people opened? I bet I tripled how many people opened the door. Because now there was this little kid, and I always let him he got to say hi first, right? But I got to tell you, it led right into it. So it was a lot easier for me. And then I learned to bring my dog, because I had a lab that everybody loved, because he wouldn't come anymore. He didn't want the $10. So I had to bring my dog. But guess what? I tweaked it so that I could get people. So that's what you have to do sometimes. Bruce is absolutely right. What isn't working doesn't mean it might not work. You just got to take a step back and go, why isn't that working for me today?
Yep.
Maybe it's not the day to call. Okay.
Shout out to Melissa. I mean, she does this a lot. I love Melissa. Blows me up. She emails me. She texts me. She uses it, and that's what we do. So we're here to help you guys tweak those different things. I was out with a buddy. Same thing. Door knocking. I was killing it. I loved it. I went to lunch and I was like, wow, this neighborhood's a gold mine. And he's sitting there going, this thing, I don't even know what you're talking about, man. I can't get people to answer the door. When they answer the door, they just slam it back in my face. And so I got done. And I like to go door knock back to back. So we both walk down the street together, and I'm on one side and somebody else is on the other. And so our back to back is there. And what happens is you can say, hey, we are out talking to everyone in the neighborhood today. And when they see another neighbor answering the door, they kind of feel like, okay, well, everybody's getting this. So like, I'm going to hear your spiel. It's just my tactic. Anyways, I let him go first. I watch him for 3 houses. I know exactly what he's doing wrong. He's got his aviators on. He's got his polo on, and he stands up to the door. He stands up, puts his arms behind his back like this, just stands there like this. Answer the door, people. And I'm like, Ben, whoa, time out, brother. Man, they think you're the IRS, man. They think you're here to collect money. You're too stoic. You look I know you're nervous. They think you look like you're about to smack them down with a bill or IRS tax or something, man. Like, they're not appreciating it. Knock on the door, pop your glasses up, pop your foot up on the stoop, and relax. Boom. He started having the same success I did in that exact same neighborhood. People are looking at you through the window.
And I just was reading a note because I wrote this down for you guys this week. A kid came to my door yesterday, the day before yesterday, 2 days ago. And he knocks, I open the door and I go, hey, what can I do for you? And he goes, hey, just wanted you to know the house 2 houses down, we're going to be putting a roof on. So if you hear things or, if our trucks are going too fast, you just let us know. I'm going to give you my card for that number. And I kept waiting because I knew this was just a hook to get me in, right? And then he says, have you had your roof looked at? And I chuckle and I go, great line. And he goes, what do you mean? I said, if you would have came to the door and said, have you had your roof lit? I would have probably told you to get out, right? But he hooked me in with this safety thing, and I'm going to have trucks in the neighborhood. So I listened to him. I told him he was brilliant. I mean, for a 20, he was probably in his 20s. I don't know, 25, 26, I don't know. But it was brilliant. And I told him it was. And I said, man, you ought to get into real estate. And he kind of chuckled a little bit. But my point to that all is he used a hook, and it's almost what Bruce was saying. You know, if you're going to go stand at that door, and these people are going to just, I'm telling you, they're going to try their best to get you out of there as fast as they can. I've always used a hook. I think it's the best way to get to talk to somebody and to get them to talking. And this kid did it so well. It was unbelievable. And I wrote it down to tell you all because I think that's a good way for you to segue into something. Hey, you know what? We just sold the house down the street. Did you notice that it didn't take very long to sell? No, I didn't actually. Yeah, it was great. By the way, do you know of anybody else who would like to, buy, sell, or invest in real estate? You can go on and on and on. You can have your own script for that. But my point is, there's ways to, hook them. Anyway, okay.
Break down that barrier is what I call it. That's awesome.
Yep.
Okay.
Exactly right.
Lastly, okay, so we talked about action items of things to do. We talked about making sure that you're tracking your business. We went through some different calculators, some different things, some different tools. Now we need the last piece of things in your business is accountability. All right. You have me, you have Harry, you have resources at the office, but you also need to hold yourself accountable. This 411 tool is incredible. I know with some of you guys, I've gone over it. I like to get through Ignite before we really start to work on all this stuff. That's why the faster you guys can get through Ignite, the faster you can practice your buyer consult, your presentations, the more purposeful conversations we're all going to have, right? If the faster you can learn this stuff exponentially, the more we get into business coaching. So your 411, this is what I will coach you guys around. This is what we start to do once you start to have your fears overcame. Once you have a model and a system of your day and your game plan, this is how you kind of keep in alignment with it. I love this example, right? Enter your annual goals here. So we're going to do a 135 and a 411 class. The first class we're going to do is that 33 touch, but we're going to do a 135 and a 411 class. From the 135, and I'm not going to go over it in this video, you're going to come up with your annual goals. This is where you pop down your annual goals. Break down your annual goals into your monthly goals. And then from there, that's when you're going to be able to get your weekly goals. All right. And here's this. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'll wait.
And here's what this example week looks like, right? Preview 10 properties, add 50 contacts to my database, write 50 notes, call 10 Mets, go on 4 listing appointments and 4 buyer appointments. 10 Mets is your database. We used to call it Mets and have not Mets. Mets are people that you know and that know you.
Yeah, and here's what I always tell people. Don't put it down so that you can think Bruce is going to think you're great. You put it down because you think you can get it done that week, right? So if it's 2, put 2. You might have a reason for why it's only 2, but when you put 5 because you want Bruce to know it, you got 5 and then you don't get it done, then you hate like heck to come in the next week. Because if I'm Bruce, I'm going to go, or me, I'm going to say, okay, well, we got to make up for last week. So now instead of doing 5 this week, you got to do 10. So I always tell people, be realistic. You want to be aggressive and you want to get it done, but be realistic. And if you're not going to go see 10 homes, preview 10 homes, don't write down 10 homes. Write down what you really think you're going to get done. And we can always talk about what could we add to it, but be realistic.
Yep. So for you guys just getting started, I got to ask you, Melissa, Caleb, Darby, I know you've been in homes. How many homes have you got, Brady, Ann, how many homes have you guys previewed since you were licensed without a buyer in it?
I would probably say like 15, maybe. And that was more at the beginning.
No, I'm sorry, Darby, you don't count.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, the reality is if I were to work with you guys on a 411 today, you already know that we just gave you a ton of things to work on. So here would be like a mock 411 week 2 in October, right? If you're going to start this today, start it with week or 2 or 3, whatever we're on. Start it with that. And the reason why you see this filled out without weeks 2 and 3 and 4 filled out is you do not fill out all 4 weeks at first. You only fill out week 1, and then you go over to week 2 and carry over. So I would encourage you guys that this week, I know it's Thursday, but let's call it next week, right? Week 3, October, starting Monday, I would entertain you guys to at least go out and preview 2, and I'm going to call it vacant properties for the sake of COVID. Go out and preview 2 vacant properties around you for the sake of COVID. Just go look at them. It helps you with lock boxes. It helps you with what happens when another person wants to come see the house and you don't even have a buyer. Like yesterday, I went to show a house to someone, and the owner came up to me. I met a brand new buyer that I've never met before. It was an agent to agent referral, so I trusted it and didn't need to have a buyer's consultation. I didn't know who I was meeting at this house. This guy comes up to me. Yeah, kind of weird only seeing one person around here. What you doing? And I was like, well, I'm an agent. I have an appointment, and I'm showing someone a house. And he goes, well, then where's your folks? The guy, I'm literally dressed up. Like I'm in black slacks, shoes. Like I'm even trying not to step in the dirt. I had such nice shoes on yesterday. I got to pull on. This guy's like berating me. And then all of a sudden the buyer pulls up, and I was like, excuse me, sir, who are you? Are you a neighbor? Are you looking to sell your home? Like I started getting pretty snarky. It was the owner. Yeah. So preview 2 homes. You never know what you're going to run into. The next thing I would encourage you guys to do is start doing 5, at the very least, 5 handwritten notes a week. It's a game changer for your mind and your body and your soul. And what I want you to do with those 5 per week is send out gratitude cards. Don't let people know, if everybody knows you're in real estate, just send out how you're grateful for people in your life and that you hope they have a happy, blessed fall or whatever that is. Just start with 5, because what you start to do is you start to have trouble thinking about what to write. And you know for a fact that taking too much time on what to write is actually going to cause you to not do things. So start with 5, learn your tweaks. I have very simple ones, and they're the same year in and year out. And I have never once been called out by my sphere. And I probably say the same exact things to the same people year over year. I just do it twice a year, and it's always a little different. If I'm in the fall right now, I'm going to say, hey, hope you're doing well. It's been a while since we've connected. Feel free to reach out anytime. Have a blessed fall. Next, hey, it's been a while since we've last connected. I hope you're doing well. Have a blessed fall. Next, to the point where I can get through 20 a day pretty quickly. I put pressure on myself for 5 a day. I want you guys to do 5 next week. Preview 2 homes. Practice a consultation. I don't care whether it's buyer or seller. I'd educate you guys to do a buyer, because you probably pick up a buyer versus a seller. And then put in your contact and appointment goals. But those 3 things are what you guys got to start working on. And those are 3 base things that I would have on your 411 for the next couple of weeks until you start to figure out your rhythm and your rhyme.
And if you don't think you're going to hit some of your people in your database at the holidays, then do that. Use that now. Hey, I know things are going to get crazy for everybody. Just wanted to wish you a happy holidays coming up. Hope all is well. That simple. And it's a simple little run. It takes a minute. You can do 5 in less than 10 minutes. So depends on which group you're going to, try to hit for the holidays or whatever. Anyway.
Bingo. Any questions before I hit the recording?
I missed, where was that 411 document? It was within another document, right?
Yeah, so they're kind of all over the place in here. So if you go to connect, and I think if you type in 411 without the dashes,
It should be in there, yeah.
Okay.
right there. So go to your search bar, 411 without the dashes, and then go to documents, and then you'll see them. I also have that in the folder as well.
I need to add that to the folder I have as well. Well, we'll probably have one when we're finished with this, so anyway.
We've got another success story. Patrick just texted me. He's been cold calling. He just landed an investor.
Thanks.
It works.
It works.
It's all about the activity. So all that stuff that we blew through today that you guys saw that I didn't really use the Ignite forms for, I got to be honest with you. That's where the fluff comes in. I'm not really much of a fluff guy. I'm a do or die, action or no results kind of guy. It's all about just talking to more and more and more people. I'm here to help and here to help guide you through it. I'm going on a listing appointment with Sam Duran today at 4:30. Happy to do that with you guys too. If it fits my schedule, I'll do it. I push Sam off for a few days. If it doesn't fit my schedule and I need to take time for others, I will. But I will shadow or I will go on the appointment with you if you need. Whatever you guys need, it's all about that action. Don't be fearful around landing that appointment. Just set up the appointment. Don't set up the appointment before you talk to me. If you set up the appointment and I can't go, unfortunately, I just can't go. Harry and I are here for you. All right, I'm going to stop the recording. We got to jump on this other call.